how the class construction, like the object oriented concepts that we want to discuss, and we all know about the object oriented concepts, right? In object oriented concepts, we know that what are the concepts which is very familiar with this. They are the OPS concepts: class variable, data member, right? What is a class variable here? What is class variable? Everyone please keep discussing today, because today that I want to get the concept through a discussions, right? What is class variable? What is called a data member? What is a function overloading? What is function overriding? Because we have learned through all these other concepts, so that's why I will just have a briefly revision of all these things in a discussion mode, and then we will go ahead with the further understanding how we can write code in a Python on this. So we everyone know about that. What is class? Class is a collection of an object. Okay. So we need to create a class. What is class variable? That we create a object of the class. What data members? Then you have a function overloading, function overriding. Function overriding and function overloading, it is an object oriented concept which plays the polymorphisms, right? Then the instance of the variable, that means nothing else, we can call it as an object. Inheritance, yes, we will, we know that we derive a feature of one class to another, and that we know as an inheritance. Instances, they are nothing else the object of the classes. And an operator overloading and instantiation. Now I will pose a question to everyone here, that if we were defining earlier the data members in any other traditional languages, right, that this is the data we have, right, and that we were declaring our data members, what to do over here? What to do over here when you have a class? What will be happening over here? As you can see that the syntax, the naming convention of this determining is what? Class. Then you can see the class name. Then you have the some documentation. There you can mention the all documentation, and that documentation will be accessed through this class name dot underscore underscore doc underscore underscore dot, right? And now we will talk about the members and member functions. So I'll first take a file, right? I can have our class, and then here comes the class demo, or you can say that class name. We have a class name is a student. So that is in practice generally that we keep this as an first letter as an uppercase. That is just a practice, student, and then you keep a colon over here, and then you can see that the indentation is started, and here you can have a comment like this class is having uh, students information, and that you can see over here when I have started with this. Very first line is for this a class related documentation, and I have used the apostrophe, so that's why I need to use a double quote, and I use this double quote for declaration of the class student, right? So this becomes what? My, this is a class object will be there, then dot, this is my document about the class, which I just explained in your presentation, that what it is this, the optional, this is optional, it is a class documentation string, but you need to write that first, and that you can access through a class name dot underscore underscore doc underscore underscore, right? Now, let's get back to the screen. Now, how to have here a variables? Because in Python, what is the limitation comes over here, or a limitation comes or a challenge comes. So I will ask everyone, coming back to the stop sharing my screen and ask everyone, what's your viewpoint over here? What happens? What happens over here? Because we have a variables, and that variables that we need to initialize, and we don't want that all variables will get initialized immediately, right? So what we do there? What do we do there? Do we initialize it or we don't? And what's your answer for that? Will you initialize it or not? You would not like to initialize. If you do not initialize, then there is no kind of a mechanism in a Python that you can keep it declared like an integer enrollment number and string student name, as it was we were doing in the all other programming language like C++, Java, C Sharp. There we can declare it, but here we cannot declare it. Then what to do? And if we declare, if we do, then we need to initialize that. That's the biggest challenge. And so that will become a default value. That will become a default value. This is the challenge over here. So now I will make you to read one code, and we will again go through the further development of that. First, I will show you the slide, and what becomes, it will become a static data member. So whatever you will do, it will become a static, and then you need to write a member function. How do we write member function? As we were creating the function like def and then function name, and then you have arguments. It could have a constructor, destructor, all other methods. The mechanism is same. But what we do for the constructor, we will see that we can by default use a class name, and that can be a constructor, right? So if you want to create the current object, it will be denoted by self, as it was a practice in a Java 2 that calling it self. Used to access the current object, and the class object, how to create the object is by this, we need to write a class name and then we need to call. So this is called the instantiation. This is the process which is known as instantiation. We are creating the object, and the class object is get created by writing the class name as a method name and then bracket. As we were creating the integer, as we were creating the set and then empty bracket, then we create the dict and empty bracket. The same way the class instantiation can be done. And if you want to call, we can use the class name bracket. So that is what call, it is called a constructor. So this will calling a constructor. Okay, and there are so many constructors way of writing, but this is called the default constructor. And we will see the constructor how it is written. Here it is the fixed practice. You need to write the def and then underscore underscore init. You need not to write a function name, a class name as a function name, and then underscore underscore then brackets. So this will call a constructor that you can do with the self or without the arguments also. So this will done with the self only, with or without argument. Everything is possible. Okay, and if you want to have a destructor, fixed method is del, that is def underscore underscore delete underscore underscore bracket. So that is to use to destroy the object. There are also another method that it can be do a dereferencing also, a delete class object, you can write that way, or you can have a object dot attribute. So that is a difference over here, that you can delete one of the attribute of the object at the execution time also. This is what the powerful idea is, that you can modify the class structure. Normally in other programming language, you cannot modify the class structure, but here you can modify the class structure. So the class object can be having the any other value strings that we can have, that we can even though assign, and or we assign some new value. So that class object will be dereferred. It will call dereferencing of the object. We can have another object type value, as we can initialize some function name also, as it is possible. Now let's see the time of the looking to the some sample code. Look at this code. See the value, a class, I'm creating a class here. Look at this class employee. And this is the common base class for all employees. So this is a string which I want to give it as a form of documentation. And I don't want to create. Here you can see that any of values which is get default. So that is, it becomes a static. Employee count is equal to 0. So this becomes a static one. What is a static one? We have learned that in object-oriented principle, static member, static method. The static member means the object which has sharing the data, the objects, not object. The all objects. Static means the all objects have copy of these members data. What does it mean? It means what? If one object will get this value updated, this EMP count get updated, then all object will get only a updated value, because they have this object, all object have a copy of that. That means all object have common value. Common value of this member. I hope you understand what is static over here. By this, you have understood a static over here. Now see that I have first constructor, that is what def underscore underscore init underscore underscore, and then I have a function. So this can be a function with self or without the self also, but self has to be definitely to be always mentioned. So that will do whatever the object is initiated, it will be referred to a self. So by default always write self, that is preferred and it is desired as well. And I don't want to do anything, but I need to create this as a basic constructor. So I will write here pass. So now you can understand very proper in the example that what pass does. Pass does nothing actually, but to write, you have to write something over here. You cannot leave the body empty because of the Python structure. So you need to write the pass to do nothing. Right, then you have the constructor which is getting a function, similar function, but which gets now overload. This is an example of getting the overload. Overload means same function name used in the same class, right? And with different argument or arguments. This is known as overloading. This is an example of overload. Okay, so we have seen the example of overloading over here. So now we want this variables over here. So what we want to be created, that is the name, and employee does have a name and salary. So this is a new employee which is getting connected and generated. So we have a self.name. So that is the particular object which is traveling through here and which is passing through here. It will get a name. whatever the name which we have passed over here to create that will be get copied over here as an part of the object dot name. And the same way the salary is also here. So is equal to a salary. And you can see that on each and every uh, axis of this function, this is my base class function. So I am calling this as a base class. So you will come to know what has been through what it is created. So what I am doing is here, I am putting this EMP count, which is by default a 0. Like you can understand, as we have our ID, MIS ID, or you can have your registration ID or your employee ID, as we are here using this to generate that EMP count. And that is as a 0, it is static member, all object will share this value. So what we are doing on excess of that, here we are writing this is a class name. This is a particular method to access, remember that, this is a method to access the static member. All right, you have a static member, right? It is equal to class equal to 1. So ultimately I am using this assignment operator here with arithmetic operator, as it becomes the arithmetic operator plus is equal to, that becomes my one number get counted and added into the EMP count. How do I have access? That is through a classes. Okay, and then I have the third variable which I want to as a data member, that is the ID. What I'm doing after incrementing the value of EMP count, I am assigning to that into ID. So self.id is equal to employee.emp count. So now the one which has been initialized, that will be sent into the ID, and then every time the member is generated, it will keep on incremented IDs and automatically it will be generated. Okay, this is the way we create the class. Now this is I am talking about, this all becomes what? This is a example of a data member, right? Again, this is also an example of it's an example of data member. This is also an example of data member, and this is what your you can say that this is default methodology of constructor, default method of constructor, and this is, you can say that same function name also demonstrating. So this next method is again you can say that this is also a constructor. This is also a constructor, right? So we are created through a base constructor. This is our member method. So this is a method member. Okay, and what we have done, this is def. Then this is a function name with the argument self, that means the object which calls it, the object, whatever the object will call a display count, what will be printed? The total EMP employee count. Hope you understand. We are accessing here a count of employees. So this will be by any object will call, this value will come same, exactly same. Now we are accessing the members. What we are doing here, display employee. So this is another method member. You can say that member method. So I will write again, this is member method is here. So this is called that is self.name. This way we need to access, because right now whatever the object is passed is referred as a self. So this is called self.name, self.salary. So here the usage of self is very, very important. So we can see that we have been printed the self.salary, self.employee ID, self.id, self.salary, self.name, all is get printed. Now this is the classes get created. I had created one class name employee. And how we can create now, if class is created, what we are doing here, emp1 is equal to, we create a first object over here, the employee, and then call it as a, in a bracket, the passing the data of that. So let's, we are doing here in our own untitled, this is a student. What I am doing here, I am writing the student count. Okay, so I'm writing stud, or I'll prefer this way also, count is equal to 0. This becomes my static member. Okay, now what I'll do, I'll do a constructor. I'll use a constructor. I'll have one constructor. So I'll use that. And do we have an end class sort of things? Have you observed? We don't have any sort of thing as end class. Remember that. Okay, we don't have anything like end class over here. Just we need to create the. Now you can see that def. My method is what? In it. This is a default method, and I will do a self. What I need to do, a column. Okay, and if I want to create this, I can have a pass, or I want to create, I can have some default value, anything, I can do it over here. Or I can have directly the init method with this, which I want to create, that also I can write directly. So this is the same example which we are doing. What we pass over here, we pass the self, we pass the name of the student and a branch, or you can say that course. This is a course. We have created the course, and you can see that what I will do here, self dot name is equal to, so that is the self which is assigned to the self dot course is equal to, I am doing a course. The course is created, and now what I do here, I will do again writing like this, student dot, what is I have done, a count. So on each enrollment, I want my student ID has to be prepared. So I will do 1, and this way I will have a +1, but plus is equal to 1. So that means what, I am incrementing this value with self. We cannot this. This is the way we have done with this. And my class is ready now to create, or I just create some another methods. If I want to, I will create a def, but I'll do a print total student. And what I do, I don't need anything. I'll do this self over here, and I have my print, and I will pass on what, self dot. Is it will get printed through a self? No, it will not print it through that, because it will, we need to access the static member. So I need to write the class name, that is student dot, what is this student dot, this we need to have a student count, and that we have to use this, which is to be getting updated. And okay, this we had updated, so this will also press over here. This will be get printed, and we have the self dot another member. If I want to create, I need not to declare, because I will compute based on this. So whatever the ID variable, which I will simply have same as the updated one. So this way it will get printed. And another function for all our reference, I would to use this def a print. You can see that student info. And what I will pass over here, again a self, and that will refer with the self. So self, I will have a print, I will say a student name, comma, that gets here, colon. What do I have to do? I can access this with the self, self.name. This will get printing the student name. All right, what we do next, we want to have in the next line, I want to print the student codes. So here what I have to do, I need to access the codes. And I will copy this. So it will be, there is no issue of having an error. Okay, and one more thing I want to have printed here is the same way I want to print this. Let's get copy. So let's uncopy and I will say this is my student ID, and I will say self.id. So this is a class is get created now. I can keep this running also. So let's see this file, and I'm saving this. So this is my program. So we have a class demo. I'll see this as a demo. Simple class. Okay, this is I have created. Now you'll worry, like you'll think about it. What we'll do? I will run this first, and I'll create everything from shell. So this will class gets ready. This is class is getting compiled, and now you can see that my student class is get ready. So what I say that student 1 is equal to what I have. So you can see that I have student class. You can see over here student is coming up, which was not there earlier. And this way I have, you can have a name and codes, that is the student information. You can see the string, this class is having student information, this comes, and even I will write down the student name is Raju. That is the name, I know that Raju, and Raju is going to study we can say that it is, you can see the methods are also coming up. I will write the BTech. Okay, Raju is going to study the BTech, and this way it is created, the object student 1 is get created, and you can see that now some I will show you. This is the things, like you can see that course ID name, but the student count is visible, but you cannot access it. Remember that you cannot access it. These are the print total number of student, print student info, name. I can access this by name. I can have this. Will get give me the Raju student. You can see that student 1 dot, you can see that ID also, and I can fire that also together, student 1 dot you can have a course is done, so course. So this way you can see that 1 and a BTech. Now I will call a method also. How to call a method? So write the student 1 and call the method. That is what the print the student info. So particular this student info will get printed and nothing to be passed, because by default you can say that ID1 name is Raju and it is BTech. Another one, you can see that now object stud1 is also loaded, and we have another function print the total student. Right now we have created one student only, so see it resulted 1. This way that you can have creating a class, and you can create the objects even I can create right now a stud2, right? And if I want to stud2, what I do? If I want to do what I will call a function name, this is a default creation method, and this is Manu, and Manu is going to do an MBBS. So Manu, we will get him done MBBS, and see that now I will go into access, that whether you want to access this one, because we have tried what happens. See, I tried this, it can be accessed through object also. See, the for student one it was one, but I here can access through a object also. When I write inside the class, I cannot name the object because I was not knowing. So that's why that time you need to write a class name. That time you need to write a class name dot this static one. Here you can see that a student2 dot, you can see that stu count, you can also have a 2. So this is what I was saying, that the static member shares the data with all objects. It has a common copy of all. Hope it is clear. Even a method will do a same thing. So let me come back to that. Our any query is there, any question is there, then let's take the question, if any question, or it is very clear. Everyone, is it very clear?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. Anyone have any questions, please raise it, because now we'll go ahead to create the child class. This will act as a parent class, and now we will create a child class. That what I want to tell you, that like here we had made a course and all this, but student will have only ID as a normal object oriented concept. He would have a ID and name, but if he enrolls into the BTech, then it would have a different parameters will get added. That is what the course duration, right? Up to that is okay, he would have a course that can be a common student, but duration, assigning of a duration is a different, is very different. It's a BTech student, so the duration is different, then something other parameters get changed. How to handle those things? And that's why let's go and see the code again. With the example, we will again see the code. The normal demo will see this here, what I have done. Then here you can see that I had an employee class, right? And I have now a manager. Manager is inheriting a employee. You can see this is the way we have written the inheritance. You can see that what it is, inheritance. That means what? Deriving the members, it can be data or data and methods both. Okay, deriving the data and members both of parent class. So this is what the implementation of a child class, right? And this becomes a parent. So this is the implementation. This is a class, and we have created this class. This is what? A parent class. Or you can say that it is a super class also. You can have a super class. And that can be called as in another terminology, people call super class, people call subclass. Both terminologies are equally valid. And here in a bracket, what we have written in a bracket, thus the methodology is class, child class, bracket, parent class. This is the syntax of writing. Any question is here? Someone is asking anything? Okay, no, that is not there, no problem. So what are we doing here? We are handling that particular code, and we are saying that This is the standard way of creating the a child class to subclass. The syntax is thus. The syntax is class. This is a keyword. This is a keyword, right? Then this is the name of class, and here this is in the bracket name of parent class. Now I would say in all languages directly the multiple inheritance is not supported, but here I can say parent classes also. How it is? For an example, you can have class, you can have a class, child class. You can see that here you have a child class, but here you can have a parent class 1, you can have a parent class 2, and so on. And really this is supporting the multi inheritance, not only multi-level, but this supports the multiple inheritance. So what does it mean? Python supports the implementation directly of multiple inheritance, and that's what the Python gets different. Thus makes the multiple inheritance easily implementable, and so that's why it has become more useful in real world application. So that's why it has become a more real world application development. This is what the power of this multiple inheritances get supported, and that's what the things are there. Let's get implemented these things. Okay, that's, we have seen the constructor destructor. There are some next methods are also there. Before moving the methods, let's see and complete this reading of this code. So we have created a manager and we have used the inheritance. This becomes our class employee. Now whatever the information that is every class you can pass on this data. Now we have created one more static member, that is man count, which is 0. How many mans? This is manager count. The initial, that is called the derived object, a constructor. Because when we called create this, and it will pass it on to show you that I will show that it will pass to the base also and derived also. Again, here also you can see that by creating a manager also I am using the name and salary, the both are all done. I am even adding the here self.id, same as above, self.salary, self.name. As you can see over here, we have done here also. And even we are doing this also employee count 1. So actually what are we doing? We are doing here a overriding also. Overriding also. Here we are doing overriding, right? This is overriding example. So all this, our 4 lines are same. What we have added is this: manager man count is equal to +1, because the manager is also an employee. So for manager, all these things also has to be happened. What happened? We have used this. So now you can understand. Now we are creating the instances on objects. So this would create the first object, like we have created first employee name Zara, then second is with the money. Then you can see over here, we have created using the blank. No, nothing has been passed. Will it run? Yes, it will run. No problem. We can use with the blank also. And just it can be created. And then we will have later on, we will assign. So I will demonstrate that live, that accessing through an empty. Okay, and then we have created through the manager employee X, and the manager, now this is the derived class function which will call ram manager. He will have get some salary again. So what happened, what we have done here, we have done salary is equal to salary plus 5,000. So if this is called here, it will have a added 5,000 will get added, and if this is called, it will be assigned same as a salary. So whatever will same, it will be get assigned over here. So who will get more 5? Ram will get more 5. We will get 500. And see what we will do. We will display and run this. You will be able to look at that. All employee ID and employee ID 1 and all data will be get printed this way, that we have experimented very well. We can get the manager count, and then from using the manager also we can get the EMP count also. So employee count through the class employee, which was defined in this, but now the manager object get access in this. Another important thing which is this, it is accessing these methods. These methods are written, display employee is written in a parent class. This is written in super class, right? And here you can see that in this class, we have only created object. We have not created anything, any other methods are there. And we are now, methods had been accessed. How will access? Through a inheritance concept. And then see that it will display count will be also the method which was defined over here, display count. So that will reflect the list of all employees. For you, I will again do this and execute this. So you will have all answers over here. Let's get come into the compiled and come printed. Here it will get all printed over here. We can make the connection. Let's get it open again. I think this will open class demo, right? And I will run it again, so that will be able to make a connection over here. And if I get error, I'll demonstrate. So no problem. If it does not work, we will do it there also, and we will write it again. Let's do it here. We can call the student 3, and I will call a student the blank. I'm not passing anything. It will get created, and it has a 2 missing parameters. So the default name and course is to be supplied as a missing argument. So here we will not be able to run this without this. So if you want that, because of what, it will not be, because it is already loaded, overloaded this. This is been overloaded, missing these 2 parameters. So you cannot have this empty in a Python 3. Let's see, the Python 2 had not still worked. Let me close all these things and I will have also, let me reopen it. And here what we do, we will have another class to demonstrate, right? A BTech student. So I'll write this BTech, because dot is not allowed. So I will write this way, BTech student. And what I want to have inherit here is this. For your reference, we will have here also, uh, we will do a one print statement that to just make you explain any error is there or any chat message is there, nothing like that. So we will have a base class constructor called, just for a reference and just to see that. This is we have done an inheritance over here. So this is the example of the inheritance. Student is being inherited. You can see this. What we have done? We have done a inheritance, right? And now what I need a BTech count. This is not necessary, but I'm defining over here. So I'll say the BTech count is 0. I have my own custom, right? Initialization over here. I can do init. You can make it right, and here I what I would do. I will take the same thing over here as I was expecting this. Right, and all things I will copy as the constructor wants. But I would do these things. Whenever this will be get executed, it will do what? A BTech student count get +1. So BTech plus is equal to a 1. What we write this way. And whenever this ID is get created, this student ID, so what we are doing over here, we will getting this, we are directly making this 100 plus. So this way the ID will be start creating with the affix 100. So here we will have this code and ID will be differently generated. Okay, this is the class. This we have done here. Let's complete and save it over here. And now run it again. We will run this. So here it has opened up, the class is compiled, and as we had here we have a student 1, and we had done what with the employee. Sorry, here it is student. So we have a student class which we have done with the student 1, and here it is the name of a student. We had a Raju, and the course is now it is B tech we had written, but it will not call a BTech method, right? Because we need to create that over here. So this is I am making here as a BSC, just to understand the base class constructor called. Okay, now we have a student 2, and what I'm calling over here a student no. I would have a BTech student. I'll use a calling of BTech student, and I have name is Ram, and I'll make it here a BTech. Okay, the course is done, BTech is done, and you'll see here. Sorry, what happened? BTech is equal to BTech, that local variable BTech count reference before assignment. Okay, okay, okay. That has been
Static initialization is not done.
sorry.
Static you initialize 0, no?
That I have initialized, but where I
This is
have used,
this is
that
only
is
for BTech.
fine. I had to, I cannot refer this way. That the mistake I did. I need to refer this way only.
Oh,
I need to use the class name. That's it. Nothing else. I
hmm.
need to class name dot, and that I can now update it. That's only the point which was let down in a copy and in a hurry. So here now we'll update also. It's good that I can even update this. Otherwise, we will not able to know that even this is called derived is called. So that's what the error also will handle. Also, that's nice. So we will run again. That would be better. And now I will see that whether the student one exists or not. And can we see that? Yes, we have an option also. Right now I can see that this way. Uh, you can see that this student one does not exist now. It is clear. Once it is restarted, it is clear. So I will copy this here and make this will get executed. Base class is created in student 2. I will again copy this and you can see that now a derived class is called. Okay, this is I had called this btech and this is created. Now we don't had any other display methods over here. This print student and print student info. Okay, so now we would do this student one comes, okay, and the methods now you can see that print student info. This has to be printed, and now we will have this stud one. This is stud one. You can have this. You can have this is printed. This can be accessed. So we need to write this print. We will write print, and then in a bracket we will have this our small, so stud one. What is to be printed? We want to print it the name, and this way we can have I stud two dot name. This both I am accessing over here, and it will get printed Raju Ram, and you can see that I would now call a method student one print student info. You get also info. You can see now student two have also the same methods. You can see that same methods. But now you can see that btech count is coming up. This all had been created. And I will again have a student count will be get printed directly. I can do it and I can see that print student info, and you can see that it has been started with the 100 also. And now student 2 is accessing the see student count also. So that's way we had done, and now I'll open up those codes in front of you to answer some queries. So let's get the concept checked. Now what happened? You can see that. Will it run? What will be the output will come? Is there any error? Read this code and give me the answer. So this way also you can have the method which can be called, okay, what are we doing here? We are calling this, we have created C, and from C we are actually created a child, but child does go to in child method. You can see that what is that? It has directly called something. So what you can do here, you can call the base class method directly also. Let's see if it does not get any problem in 2. You can see that now. You can compare and understand the concept which we have discussed. See what happened? The child has a child class is created, child class has access first what? When we have called parent, it reaches over here, parent get count plus 1. This was count was 0, so it was plus 1, and then self count also had a plus 1, right? So again, it will have a count which is self dot count is also excess, but both will have right now not get updated again. You can see that one will remain one because this is for the and the parent gets printed. Then it comes back here after completion of this line, it comes back after accessing the parent and then printed a child. So seek dot count is also 1 and parent dot count is also 1. So that we are referring the same value, and by this statement they were not executing the multiple time, that has 1 only. So for that particular object also, and overall it has also been called as 1. So that was the thing. That's it here as an inheritance, as in the concept of. We will have any questions. If you have any questions, please raise. Now we'll go ahead for somewhat inbuilt functions, and they are just to know that, like whether I want to know whether does this attribute is or there or not, I can access through a get attribute, and I can get the access of that. Has this attribute or not? We can check. Even we can check and set that attribute at the runtime. If it does not exist, then it would be created. So that way we can use a set attribute, even we can delete it also from runtime. That is the Python has somewhat difference. Let's see that how you can do it. So we will try get attribute, has attribute, check it out. Okay, here we have class, and we want to see the set attribute. See that set attribute, first we do a get attribute. What we need to pass over here, we need to pass the object name. What is the object name here? Student 1 does have something attribute called here, this attribute are appearing. So these are here. If you write something in a code, and it will say that at least 2 arguments. So what we do here, we pass it out this. And any default value which is there, if it is, we will give it. So does the student 1 dot id, and does it have a 0? It will get this attribute, and that must be name, must be a attribute name, must be a string. So we will have object and name. So sorry, this is the object, and here that can be checked, it is the name. Yes. So this user returns as a value that student 1 name does have, and get attribute as a value this way. And we can have a get, as well as we can do another thing that has this attribute, which will check if attribute exists or not. If attribute does not exist, it will return. So has attribute, we can use that student again 1 same way we will pass on, and it becomes a true. So now you can check it whether that particular object does have this attribute or not, because now I'm going to delete it, so this will not work. We can then we will set it. So first we do a delete of this attribute, and once we delete, it will become false. So delete, we have delete attribute, And you can see that stud, this is one. So student one which we have created, and we are deleting this attribute now, a name attribute. What happened? It will be deleted. So now if I copy this, you will see that that does not have a name. That becomes a false. And if I now try a student one get exist, but if I say that a name will be what? It will return as in that attribute does not know attribute name, right? So this way it has returning now. If I just call also a student one, and the methods are there, you can see that name is not found over here. And I will now go ahead with the student info. Again, it will give me an error because student ID gets printed, but name is not going to be printed. Now I will add this attribute. So to add this attribute, what we need to do? We need to add this attribute by a keyword set. So this is what we are modifying the class at the runtime. So set attribute. And the set attribute does what? We have an object, and meanwhile before that calling, I would say that in stud1 it is exist, sorry, stud1 it is deleted. In stud2 what happened? In stud2 you can see that name is there and it is printed. So what does it mean? You can delete some of the attributes, members at runtime, and that is what the power and possibilities can be explored expandedly with this. So I will now use a set attribute. This is my one. So I had again write stud one, and I will have my object is stud one, and I will now give my name. It is not there. It is going to be created now. You can see that, and it is. Oops. I need to give a value also. Sorry, because when I set, I need to set the value also. So now I'll again establish the value, that is the we had Raju earlier. I get the Raju back, and see that now student one, the print I will fire again, so you will be able to see. See that has been again set. So at the runtime we are modifying the things, and that's what the power of Python. Okay, now these are the some inbuilt things. So you can have a dictionary related to the all containing the class namespaces. You have a document, then you can have a class name, detail, modules, bases. This way you can use a class name built-in attribute. So now we will look at this all attributes built-in class. Class attribute, that means we need to access through a class name, and class name is here what? A student. So we would access this with the student. See the student is here, and see that now you cannot see these things. When you type this, we have these methods. Okay, and there are so many methods, but right now we will execute these things this way. Uh, right? So we need to not need to this is a class. This is a class type. Okay, fine. What we do now, attribute, they are attribute, we are not accessing the method. So these are the attributes. So here you can have this, you can have a dictionary, and you can see that what is a dictionary. Yes, dictionary is all talking about that this is a, this class is having the student information, all this doc is available, student count is 2, and it has a init function, it has been at this, this is a method, you can see that uh, the all information, print student info, print total student, function student, print this, dictionary, like this, elements which have all objects and information related to the meta related to this class, means kitne object hai, whatever the number of objects and all this, that's available. So if it has been anything deleted attributes, right now there is a not wrapper, but this is if it is deleted, it will be also here. So you can have this attribute has been deleted from this object. So you can also check this. Then you have very famous which is called doc. You can have also a dir and the class you can see that it's all a type which is shown delete attribute which we have seen. Now you can see the dir. So dir will be about this directories if it is some methods are there. So it will be having a list of those things. Right now we have no those type of any objects. So this is the class strings which we have. So it will be available in doc. Doc will give us. And in the student, I will now prefer to have a BTech student because we need to fire that parent one also. So it has a format also we can see, we can some have equate and all other, is it init a subclass, init this module and all this which you can check it out. It is a subclass hook and that all we can check. So it is subclass, yes, built-in subclass. Okay, and you can have a module also. You have a module which will give you that it is having that main, it is a main having this, then, and the last operation is that we need to have that is here, it's a what is the base, so that is not here. Is it something new? You can have built-in new method if it is. All right, this will be bases will be there, but will give you the attributes. So this is where we have already seen a parent class 1, parent class 2, the inheritance work. You can check whether it is a subclass or it is a instance. So that we can now do is a subclass. So that way that subclass and this is superclass. So we can check that. It returns true if it is given a subclass and is an instance of this or not. So it will that way it will be returns true and false, so that you can see by the subclass. Okay, that these are the methods which we use generally to do overloading, but right now I'm not executing this overloading and overriding, and that we will keep for the and another concepts called data hiding, and that we'll see tomorrow. Uh, so you can just see that is a subclass and you can have is it what you need to do, a student is there a subclass, so we will have a go reverse. So what is it is a btech, yes, and we will check that it will give us a false and the reverse is true. So we will have others a btech student, and you have this is a student. So which will return us a true. Another way is add a instance. Instance is what you need to give it over here. Instance it is a stud one. We had an instance, and it is instance is of what? Is of a student, right? So we will have this and it gives us, so this way we can have another method also which we can check and write and do some other required works also. So that's it from the today's session, and now open up for the question answer. It was become somewhat long, so now I'll open any queries, any doubt, please So that's it from my today's session. If any question and queries comes, please raise.
Hello, sir. No
Yeah.
query at all, but I have one question.
Okay.
Uh, ये जो Python में we are using this object-oriented concepts and all. So,
Correct.
is there any particular application or it is not mandatory? We can use Python without this object-oriented concept.
Without it is based on our need. Actually, when we are doing something which we want to have a real time data structure which we want to work, then we can use this object oriented. Otherwise, without that also a Python is very helpful. So that's why it is been called Python is again object oriented also and function oriented also. It is a combo of both the way, combo of all programming flavors. So that's not a compulsory. That's depend on your logic. That depends on your need, and based on that, just how to do a object-oriented things. How you can have those things. How you can develop a real-world applications like some management system and all this. For that, this way the programming is also required.
Yes, yes. Okay, okay.
Fine enough.
Thank you. Yes, yes.
Any other point? So any other point from anyone? Let's we are now today completing this today. So tomorrow we will go ahead with the data hiding and all remaining part of this overloading and overriding. These are the advanced concepts of this class and object oriented terminology. So tomorrow we will see the some internal methods also for overloading, and we'll also see the operator overloading. So that will be seen tomorrow, data hiding, and there this will be helpful for developing the real world applications and there. So that's it for today. We are now taking leave of everyone. Thank you. Thank you everyone. Bye. If anyone have a question, we are here. All right. So that's all. Today's session has been fantastic, and we are leaving the leave over here.